Hello, how are you? Good, good, glad to hear it. Okay, so today I'm going to do the first of possibly two, maybe more. So I'm going to do an analysis of Brighton Rock by Queen from the Sheer Heart Attack album. Now I'm using this guitar because there's a lot of rock and roll influences in the song, and that's what I wanted to get across. I mean, I could have played on the Brian May guitar that I've got, but I was thinking that like not everybody's got them, and maybe you haven't got one. Maybe you haven't got one of those Brian May guitars, or maybe you've been thinking of getting one. But I just wanted to show how you could get like bring out the rock and roll influences, because I think you have to understand a lot of those in order to really get the best out of the song and get the best out of playing the song. Now, to begin with, the song Brighton Rock starts in a fun fair. Because there's a big tradition in Britain, especially in England, of in the summer going away to the seaside, going to the beach. Now, quite a lot of the time, when you were younger, you'd be living with your parents, and so you'd be really looking forward to these 2 weeks holiday, maybe staying in a caravan somewhere, or a guest house, or a cheap hotel. But it gives you 2 weeks to get away, or as the song goes, it's all about a public holiday. So that's most likely Bank Holiday August. We call our public holidays bank holidays. But when the public holidays, when the bank holidays come up, quite often people will have days out and go to the seaside. Sometimes it's a bit naff as well. Naff meaning a bit rubbish, a bit cheesy. But you don't know that at the time, because it's it's a change from the humdrum. Maybe you've been at school, or maybe you're working a dead end job, or you've been stressed out for most of the year, and so like the holiday just gives you that break. So anyway, yeah. So Brighton Rock starts with like a fun fair. That you can hear like a merry-go-round to begin with, and it sounds like the Dodgems, what we call the bumper cars. So there's some of that going on. There's maybe a roller coaster in the background as well, and there'd probably be like sort of records playing. Now it's not quite clear when the song is set, but it has that sort of rock and roll feel about it. So it's got to at least be in like the 50s and the 60s. But it's hitting that time when you're of a certain age and you start experiencing that first romance, and you're starting to move away from your parents. That you're starting to feel, that attraction for the first time, or whatever. So that's pretty much what the song seems to be about. But then that opening chord, it's based on it starts with a G♭4. Now that to me reminds me a lot of on the slot machines, because like if there's an amusement arcade at the beach, which seems likely, quite often there's these slot machines, and you put your money in, and you get what's known as a tilt, where like the buttons start flashing, and you press the buttons, and then like the wheels will, or you can move it up or down, and you might win or you might not. But it does sound very musical. So I've got a feeling that Brian probably heard that and thought, oh, I could transcribe that, I could make a song out of it. So it's kind of that opening. Okay, right. So far, so good. Okay, so the way I've set my guitar up, I've got a little bit of drive. I've backed the volume off a little bit, and just a bit of delay, just to give that sort of tape slap back delay as you might get on like a old rock and roll. Now then, we're going to go into a D7, but we're not going to fret it. We're going to do like a Link Wray type slide, which is like this, like that. Now that's very common in rock and roll, but that's so it goes from that G7, and then it goes into C sharp. Yes, C sharp to F sharp. Now you can go to this. You can go to the G sharp as well if you want, but now that just builds it up, and then the surprise, because like when the drums come in, it drops down to B. So the chords here are B, E, so that's F sharp, and then you could drop in that sus4. Brian May does a lot of sus4 chords. And then the would be of no avail to talk of that bit. So A, E, B, D flat, and then we're going to go like that. Now that's the modern innovation. That's because you're going from rock and roll to like heavy rock. That's straight Pete Townsend, that bit. So this bit here is like, that's more still sort of Link Wray, sort of Duane Eddie territory, that bit. And then we go back to the C. The C sharp. Now, actually thinking about that, that's kind of like Booker T and the MGs. They've on the BBC Cricket, they quite often use it. Yeah, so there's some sort of R&B influences coming in there as well. So anyway, so that part repeats. Yeah. So and then when we get to the O Rock of Ages bit, then we're in C mine. I'll play that again. I'll play it slower. Right. C minor, B, E, A, G sharp, F sharp, B. Right, so we're going to go. I played it wrong. And then the second time, and then we go. Right, and then, okay, so you got that bit up. So I'll play that bit again. And then there's a little lead bit which is also back to rock and roll, very Link Wray again. Now all that is that's an A blues scale. Except we're playing it here. And then we're just going. So we're going E to E, G. And then there's this little tricky bit here. So I'll play that again. So don't worry if you don't hit it completely. All you're really doing is you're just playing off across this. It's an E blues scale, but if you can get that bend in, because you're playing this at, you're playing this very fast, so you haven't got much thinking time there, and then it goes into the into this, and then you play this again. And then it just alternates then between A and E. Now we finish on that A. Now there's a little bit of ad-lib between Brian and Roger. And then that's just E and A. And then he does this thing on the E string, which when you play it like this, it does sound very rock and roll. And then there's a you do a slide on that string this time, not that slide, but you. And then use the tremolo. Practice doing this as well for the clarity of the notes, because that's something in sort of old school rock and roll which seems to be lost in a lot of heavy music. I mean, if you actually do listen to a lot of the old school rock and roll stuff, it is quite heavy. You know, these guys were tough guys. I mean, like sort of Duane Eddie or Eddie Cochran, you wouldn't want to pick a fight with him, you know. So anyway, but just practice doing that if you can. And then it goes into the multiple part guitar solo, which I'm going to leave for next time. If you've got any comments or questions, I'll do my best to answer them. I hope this has been some use. I'll see you next time. Yeah, please consider subscribing if you haven't done already. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks very much.